there's something that should have bothered you about what we just did, and that is if we let's look at this segment here. It's clear that for this curve or for this curve the slope appears to be increasing. However, when we draw this segment, we're drawing a straight line. This straight line segment has a slope that doesn't change. Now we know that our slope rule could well have the characteristic that the slope does change over this distance, so that the actual curve might vary slightly from the straight line segment. And then we end up at a different point, so we would have a different slope here than we had here, and we would compound any error that we make in following a straight line segment every time we make a new segment. We get a little bit of an error in positioning our points, so that the curve that we get is only an approximation, and in this case would be an underestimate. The actual curve would be a little steeper than the one we see here, a little steeper than the one we're beginning to indicate here. Now, there are various strategies for improving on our results. If we make the line segments really short, then we don't have room to make much of an error, even though the error will compound with every new segment. So if we make a lot of really short line segments, we're going to get a better approximation to the curve. And there's another technique that we can use later. You don't necessarily have to remember this right now. We can take our segment. Let's take this segment. We start at this point. We get a new point here. We can calculate the slope at this point and average that slope with the slope we had here, and then use our averaged slope to project our new point. Now we'll see all these methods as we move through the course, but for right now the main idea is just to understand if we've got a rule for calculating the slope, we can construct curves, but those curves are only approximate. There's a little bit of an error every time we follow a straight line segment in a region of the plane where the slopes are actually changing with every new point.